Snatch. Now really when we're doing something like this, we need to keep in mind what the rib cone represents. The rib cone does not need to represent a defender all the time. In fact, most of the time, the rib cone doesn't represent a defender at all. It represents game qualities or game characteristics. So if I was to do an actual through during my split, a lot of times players will just stay in these upright positions. What the rib cone's job is to get my body back into a driving-like stance during that actual split. So when I actually split my feet and go through, and if I snatch the cone, now if we pause these moments in time, my shoulder's at a good position to drive, my hand has now become active, and now if I was to drive off and start to attack, I'm now gonna actually be doing it realistically. So many players don't realize that their movements aren't realistic because all they're really thinking of are the actual moves that they're doing, not the realistic qualities that need to be within those moves. And so all we're gonna do right now is repeat our throughs during a split. So a split through with a rib cone snatch. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna foot replace back and then I'm gonna return the cone. Now, because I'm using our mat right now, I'm gonna try to stay in the middle of the squares. So when I split through, I'm staying confined to the boxes and to the circles during that movement. But I wanna be able to slide back and reset that comfortably. Now I want you to be in some ways claustrophobic on this space. I want you to be confined. Now, a lot of you are going to have issues coming off of that. And so if I can stay around the mat, I know that I have control over my feet and over my space, and I'm able to really understand my body and where I'm controlling or coming back to. And so right now I can just split through, getting my shoulder dropped, and I'm repeating that action. But every time I do it, I should feel like I can actually drive off of that. So you're going to spend 20 minutes of doing split throughs, but it doesn't mean that you have to remain stationary the entire time. After you've done it stationary, you can feel those dots, then start driving out of it where I can actually place the cone onto the floor. And so if I do a split through and I can place, now I know that I stayed down all the way through my drive, and so I'm able to attack that at the very end of it. And so that's what I want you to be able to picture as you're doing these moves, because if they feel differently during the actual through, you know that obviously your shoulder wasn't actually in a position to drive forward. So mix it up during your split throughs with a rib cone snatch of staying both stationary and moving forward. Spend 20 minutes on that and really focus on the qualities of your shoulder, your feet,